Hey everyone, I've got another 60 Grassy for you between myself and KSSMSM. He's been one of my great friends on this game. We play a lot of matches and they are always quite a treat, very sweaty. If you like those type of sweaty, long, grindy games, then this is the video for you. Alright, let's get started. I won't reveal what we're running just yet. Both generic so far. I don't know what he's running going into this game, so I'll just have to kind of figure that out as I go. So I'm able to get first turn here, and want to go over and knock him off. When I'm flashing, I'm thinking here, maybe if I could jump on him and flash, because I was worried about not being able to get back up to the top area. Sometimes when you flash, you're not able to jump out that hole that the flash creates. But I am able to jump out there, and at this point, I just want to run away and summon a minion. Get a safe minion out and force him to respond. I choose Pixies instead of Swarm. Really, you could do either, but I think that Pixies are a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more scary. You know, people are intimidated by Pixies. Oh no, what do I do? And I decide to go for the Pixies there. And here I want to stack the Swarm with the Aura. In hindsight, I really don't think that's a good play, because he's able to drain all three. I think it's probably best if I spread out all the Pixies and just run away and summon a Swarm. That way he has to respond again. He has to maybe use his flight, or I don't even know if he has flight at this point. So instead of giving him an opportunity to drain all three of my minions, I really should just continue to run away, spread out all the Pixies, get my Swarm out. So a misplay on my part, but not the end of the world. I decide to get out and just want to trap him so I can control top, try to get some pressure. Some sort of minion advantage built up here. It's still just turn 5, so not much of anything crazy has happened. It's kind of nice that I can trap him with that Pixie. The tree will still be alive, so he can't tower. So that's a pretty good, nice advantage that I can get. He summons a wolf here. The wolves have a little bite that does 40 to 50 damage, I think. It might have been changed recently. It used to be 40. 40 or maybe 45. I can't quite remember. But it has a little bite that they can do. They can jump a little bit higher, move a little bit faster than the average minion. I decide to just drain it. He drains my Pixie. And I decide to summon Pixies again. I just think that one of my win cons is to get undead Pixies, so I want to use them. I don't want Pixies to just be a dead slot. So, you know, I'll do my best to leverage it, you know, use what I have. He summons a Swarm, which is a fine play. I want to spread the Pixies out at this point, and I don't really want to dig down to him, because he has that Swarm, and Swarms are just so good to have in 60 Grassy. And I don't want to let him, you know, free his Swarm, then I gotta worry about killing it. While it's trapped, it's not really much of a threat. So he Sanctuaries the Aura, and now he's a bit exposed. I want to just keep him trapped. In this book, as you might have noticed by now, I don't really have a way to stack my flight and protection shields, because I don't have either of those spells. you know, if I could stack flight and protection shields, then I could, you know, fly up to the top of the map, pebble down, and, you know, create some pressure, exert some pressure that way. But I don't, so I decide to sink one of the pixies, summon a swarm. Why do I sink a pixie? Well, because there's 3 of them, and swarms are just so good. I can use a swarm to make an undead pixie, I can use it to tick him for 15 or tick his minion. It's just a really great spell. So, I thought it was worth it. Now I have a free swarm out. He Vine Whips just to make it possible for him to escape, or his swarm to escape with the blast from the past. I try to arrange my pixies to kind of discourage him from doing that. Probably doesn't even work, and I shouldn't even bother to do it. But, you know, I did it anyway, and I decide to tree his swarm again, just so that, you know, now I have a swarm out that's free, and he doesn't have a swarm, it's trapped. He has to spend time to deal with it, and he'll lose tempo when he does spend time to deal with the trapped swarm. So now I'm thinking this is a great opportunity to undead some pixies. What I can do is again line them up, one on top of the other, swarm into them, and aura. At this point though, interestingly, I thought he might have had aura, and so I was a bit worried about swarming them, and then I aura one, and then he auras again. He would have... actually, no, he wouldn't have undead one of these pixies, but I thought that in the last moment before this turn ended that, oh, if he has aura, he could undead one of my pixies after I swarm it. Maybe that was an oversight by me, but I choose to wait to undead these for whatever reason. Yeah, I was just thinking that he could possibly undead one of them with his own aura, but if the stat goes well, I hit 2 of the pixies with the swarm, they both go down to 10, I aura both of them and they're both mine. So, I don't know, I just maybe panicked a little bit, got a little nervous. Here he summons a Dark Knight, he summoned it down here, and like here, even if you summon the Dark Knight like way far below, it's still gonna mount the Pegasus. It's a huge range. I don't know why that was built into the game, but kind of irritating. It is what it is. So his Dark Knight mounts the Pegasus. Not the end of the world, but it wasn't initially what he wanted. So I think this is pretty good for me at this point. I can swarm the Dark Knight and get a lot of damage out on it, or potentially leave it alone, force his Dark Knight to come out here, and then I can kill it once he brings the Dark Knight out to the top. But I decide to swarm and toss a Mega Boulder, and it does 100 to the Pegasus and 62 to the Dark Knight. He Vine Bridges, which I'm not 100% sure why he Vine Bridges there. Maybe to discourage the swarm from coming down, but I think the Dark Knight is safe from the aura because of the Sanctuary anyway, so I'm not sure I would go for the Vine Bridge there. Obviously, you know, he's protecting the wolf, but I don't know if that's worth it or not. I guess he knows that if he bridges here, he summons a wolf, and another spell that a wolf has besides the bite is Pack Mentality, which allows the wolf to summon another wolf, a 40 health wolf, which you'll see he does here, I think. So, you know, he can summon that wolf outside of the bridge. Yeah, as you can see, I decided to stack the pixies on top of the Pegasus and undead both of them. If they're both at 6 HP, you know that they're undead. That's just how the math and the game mechanics works. And now I have 2 pretty healthy undead pixies. I decide to Pebble to get some damage out on the Dark Knight, maybe kill the wolf, maybe not. Doesn't quite kill it, but I'm feeling pretty good here. I can swarm his Dark Knight, kill it. I've got a bunch of pixies as well. And here I decide to swarm the Dark Knight again, just because it's the most threatening thing on the board. And I think I make a misplay here, and I'll talk about it a little bit once we kind of see the turn play out. I keep the pixies stacked, position my Pegasus, and kill this wolf. Now that's a misplay because his Dark Knight's still alive. I think the best play here would be move one of the pixies under the wolf, and then detower. The wolf will drop onto the pixie, and I'll be free to move. I can go over in this area here and pebble his Dark Knight. I think that would have been the best play, and then I just leave the wolf alive and I can kill it later. And you'll see how this presents some problems for me later in the game. Pretty much if you have an opportunity to kill a Dark Knight, even if it puts you at a slight perceived disadvantage, you should do it, because most 60 Grassy books revolve around Dark Knight. If you kill the Dark Knight, they have a lot less tools to deal with your threats. But I don't, and so we'll see kind of how I adjust here. I can continue to make the pixies healthy with the swarm, and at this point I'm thinking I really don't want to pebble down. That wouldn't be very effective. So I decide to flash just to get a better angle on his tower. His swarm is still trapped. Unfortunately for him, he kills it, so that's fine with me. I guess he does free up a minion slot, which isn't all that bad for him. Excuse me. So I decide to Ice Shield the Pegasus just to keep him trapped. Again, if I had Flight and Protection Shield, I could just stack those and then pebble down, but I don't. So I have to take a little bit of a different approach. Thought I could get that swarm around, but unfortunately I can't. So I decide to tree the Pegasus just to keep it trapped even more. I do realize that he can drain with the Dark Knight if he wants to, but I don't know, I didn't feel like this was the right time to open up this area and allow him to, you know, maneuver, because I'm scared about the Dark Knight if somehow he can elevator it up or something. So here I'm a little bit lost at what I want to do. I don't have many spells. 4 out of 4 for minions, so I just aura here. I guess in hindsight I could have actually jumped out of the tree, blast from the past at this spot right here, and then killed the Dark Knight. Again, I had another opportunity. It was at 49 health, because you can fit through that with the blast from the past, that little piece of the land there. But I don't know. I get a little bit passive, or, you know, a little anxious or scared in those moments to really get so close to him, because he's got such a strong minion out there. You know, say I get all the way down there and I run out of time and then he kills me. But yeah, that could have been a play. Go over there, blast from the past, and then pebble his Dark Knight because it was at 49. Instead, he gets a triple drain off, and I'm like, oh Christ, that really sucks. I decided to swarm my Pegasus, just so that I can undent it quicker, and I make a pretty tragic misplay here. I decide to drain with the Pixie. What I should have done in hindsight is probably drain the Pegasus into the swarm, and then trapped with the Pixies, because the Pegasus is at 40, so if I drain it, it goes down to 10, it's moved into the swarm that does 15, and it is undead. But in the moment I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do, I'm lost. So I decided to drain with the Pixie, but the problem is he can actually escape with the Blast from the Past. And I plunge into a deep depression. I uninstall the client and I delete my YouTube channel. So yeah, that's the end of the video. It's been great, guys, and I'll see you next time. No, just kidding. I'm still here. But yeah, he does get this tragic 150 charge out on me. I was like, oh crap, I'm so screwed. I have an opportunity to undead his Pegasus, which is cool. At this point I gotta refocus, I just can't panic. You know, I know that his Dark Knight is down there pretty stuck. He doesn't have a way to get it out. And I can trap him with pixies, which is nice. And then I think I just am a bit scared that my health is low, so I want a tower. I think that's what I end up doing. Yeah. And then the nice thing about this placement of the tower is that I can pebble down from that area too. He's actually able to escape, which is kind of irritating. Pixies are light, and so he's able to escape pretty easily with the Blast from the Past. It just moves him out of the way. He gets a nice jump here, I think. Oh no, he's actually not able to get out, which is good for me. He spends a turn to drain the Pegasus. I've got one more turn that I can survive. So I decided to swarm him. Not sure why I didn't just swarm the Dark Knight. I should have. And at this point, I don't know if I have Tree available or not. If I do, then Tree would be a good play here. But I think I decided to do something a little bit different. The Pixies are actually able to escape, which is nice. I can make them burn the Blast from the Past a bit more. Don't quite know how many he has left at this point. I decide to Lava Drain. Kind of a meme move. You don't really ever rely on your quote-unquote trick shots in a 60 Grassy. But I did it. God aimbot. Anyway. I drain. It is what it is. It's not a good move. I should have probably treed him. Or... I don't know what the other play is there. I don't have a swarm. I've got all my minion slots full. I gotta stay in the tower. So in hindsight, I think it's an okay move. Doesn't lose me the game, at least. So yeah, I take that back. Maybe it's not so bad of a move. So now he's got a Dark Knight at 109. I've got a swarm out. I'm thinking, okay, how can I trap him? Maybe I wanted to save Tree for this moment, because I know that he has a lot of ways that he can free his Dark Knight. Like, he can just summon a Pegasus, and then the Dark Knight can mount the Pegasus and come to get me. So maybe I didn't want a Tree because I wanted to save it to keep the Dark Knight trapped. You'll notice I killed the Pegasus a turn ago because I was scared that he was going to be able to undead it. My aura was not up. It had 10 health, and I know he has aura. And so I just decided to sink it. I also wanted a slot for Dark Knight. So now I'm feeling like I'm in an okay position. I can get a pretty hefty drain off with the Pixie and make it 160 health, which is pretty crazy. He charges, which I don't think that really does anything. In hindsight, maybe he should have summoned another minion. He has a bear, which will come into play soon, but maybe he should have summoned his bear there to stuff this area. So I'm able to go in there and drain with the Pixie. And I just started drain spamming, honestly. I don't have much better to do. I can't really detower because I'm scared about my health. I just have to be a bit safe, cautious. He makes a good play to trap the Pixie, and I misplay here. I kind of think, oh, I don't have much to do. I'll just aura. But he's able to stack. He puts the wolf on top of the Dark Knight, and now he has an undead Dark Knight, and I'm like, oh shit, that sucks. So I misplay there pretty tragically. Could I have prevented the undead? I'm not so sure. But you know, maybe I should just come over to that tree and free the pixie, flash down, not worry about my health. But I decided to tree him in because I'm like, okay, he's now got an undead Dark Knight. It sucks, but I have to deal with it. So I decided to trap it, just so that he has to waste turns to free them, the wolf and the Dark Knight. And it's at this point that I decide to detower and then flash down. Actually, I decide to tower again because I just want to be safe. Again, I'm a bit worried about my health. It's quite low. I don't know if he has like a spear, which is a 75 health, 75 damage bolt spell that could rush me. So I'm a little bit worried about that. You know, then I'd be down to like 30 health. So I decide to tower first, and then I can free the pixie as well. And now his Dark Knight, I think, is trapped. But he does have that undead wolf, which sucks. And he's got another one, and I'm thinking, okay, he's probably gonna zombify that, and he does. So I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks. I guess wolves aren't the most threatening wolves, but it does suck that he gets the swarm out. I decided to just kill it. It's looking pretty dire for me here, 161 to 265. He's got 2 undead wolves. He can absorb my swarm. I don't have a way to transport my Dark Knight because I'm 4 out of 4 minion slots, so can't get a Pegasus out. So at this point I'm thinking, I have to get away from him first of all, so that he doesn't pebble me again, bring me down to 50 health. And I'm also thinking, is there a way that I could get the Dark Knight over? Somehow. Because I'd like to kill his Dark Knight, but I fuck up the elevator, and I drop my Dark Knight, and so I'm like, oh shit. I'm totally screwed. I've got 10 seconds left at this point. Like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and I Q. So that was pretty tragic. In hindsight, I shouldn't have gone for that elevator, and maybe use a pixie to trap his Dark Knight, and then kill his wolf. That could have been an option. Yeah, and run away too, so that he doesn't pebble me again. But yeah, I just kind of panicked because my elevator didn't work, and I could barely even get out with Glide. And I think I had Pegasus up that I was going to summon, but I just ran out of time, so that sucks. But he traps with the wolves, and I decided to charge him. He got his Pegasus out, and I trapped it with the pixies. And I thought his Dark Knight was trapped as well. And on top of that, I positioned myself so that his Dark Knight charges. I thought, okay, this probably won't kill. And it barely doesn't kill. So I'm like, oh god. I'm not tilted, but I'm like, you know what? Might as well go for the elevator here. Last ditch effort. I think I'm stuck, unfortunately, which is just terrible. So I fuck it up again. That's a bit tragic. So I can't even blast from the past out. I'm totally stuck. Can't even move my pixie over here to prevent any kind of elevator shenanigans. and so I just gate to this bottom side here. Luckily he doesn't have a minion that he can like put his Dark Knight on. If he had a Swarm or a Pixie, he could move it to this side here, jump the Dark Knight on the Pixie, and then move it down, jump the Dark Knight over here and charge me. But because I gate, he has to kill my Dark Knight, and excuse me, and at this point I still have 3 minions. I have 2 Pixies, which is great, and a Swarm, so I'm not completely lost, but I mean, I basically am, because I'm at 16 health. I don't know about that play from him, killing my Dark Knight, because my Dark Knight can't move. So maybe he should have just used Aura of Decay on me and I'm at 1 health. And you know, whoever comes back from 1 health. Pretty much no one. It's very rare. So I decide to trap him. He gets freed here. And at this point, I'm just like, alright, tower up. Get a Pegasus out. Anything I can do to stall. Maybe drain the Pegasus at some point, get a little bit of health back. He Sanctuaries. He can't flash that tree. That might have been a play that you might have thought of. Oh, just stand over here and flash that tree, because I can drain him off with a Pixie. So, unfortunately, that doesn't quite work out. That wouldn't be the best decision for him. So he decides to Sanctuary, probably to set up a Pebble. He wants to Pebble down, get closer to me. So I decide to summon a Pegasus, and yeah, he pulls out the Pebbles here. At this point I think, okay, I've got a turn where I could maybe do some healing up. I'll skip moving the Swarm. And yeah, I just Swarm his Pegasus and then drain. And he summons a Pegasus out. At this point I just keep swarming him, just kind of slow playing it. And I decide to get the Aura out, get some tempo. Now he has to kind of deal with that undead Pegasus there. He's gonna maybe drain or charge. I don't remember what he does. Oh, he's gonna try to kill the Pixie and the Pegasus as well. Not sure if he's able to do it, but oh yeah, he gets a really nice charge from the side. I wouldn't have thought of doing that from the side, but it kind of catches on the Pixie and is able to kill it. So that's a great play from him. So one of my Pixies is down. I realize I've still got one that I can use to trap the Pegasus and just keep swarming it every turn. And it's at this point, I said I drained earlier, but I didn't drain. Now I decide to drain. When I said I drained, I think I put this tree in the way so that he doesn't keep pebbling, just to stall. He messes up the elevator there too and traps his Dark Knight in the hole, which is good for me. He decides to flash down. I assume he wants to just pebble, get as close to me as possible. He could probably pebble and sink me, but it's a little risky. I'm not sure if it would work. With 190 health though, I would probably go for it. Go for something like that. I don't have much to like plug this hole here or prevent the pebbles. I don't have like a Storm Spirit or anything to tank any of the pebbles, so I decided to just drain again. It's probably my best play. He pulls out the Swarm here. Elects to not go for pebbles, which is interesting. I would have pebbled there. Just because if it detowers me, I'm really screwed. I decide to drain. It doesn't kill the Swarm, which I should have aimed it a little bit differently, but I was worried about if the drain like clears that land, then he can get a clean pebble off on me and it probably sinks. So, not the end of the world. I can kill the swarm with the blast from the past. He does undead my Pegasus, which is not good. I do blast from the past the swarm, and I just want to get that Pegasus the hell out of here. I was seeing if I could block the hole with the swarm at all, but it'll die to the aura, it looks like. I decided to put it on my tower, which probably is a terrible decision. But it's not the worst. It does detower me, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, I've got to get out of there. He's kind of trapped, he doesn't have flight, so I decided to drain myself off, and then I can gate up to the top. He doesn't have a Pegasus or anything, so he can't get the Dark Knight up, which is nice. And yeah, this is a point where you do see the bear come out. Bear is another spell from the Book of the Wilds, along with the wolf. Has like a Ferocious Strike, which is a melee, and also a leap spell, where the bear just jumps to a minion and does damage to it when it makes contact. Also a passive that increases the damage the bear does when it's lower on health. You know, kind of like a ravenous, hungry bear is, more threatening, so it'll do more damage. Kind of an interesting, cool bit of story there, cool mechanic. So I get the Pegasus out, I still have my Pixie, which is nice. I can undead this Pegasus real soon. His aura is down, and I in fact decide to do it immediately. I can trap that Pegasus, which is a must, otherwise he kills me. He is free though, but I don't know. At this point I thought that he didn't have Spear, because he really didn't use it at all. And he mentioned to me a while back that he wanted to try out Bear. Really unfortunate there that his whip doesn't knock me off, it actually mounts me onto my Pegasus, and then the Pegasus goes undead. Because I'm mounted to it, it does like, the aura does double damage, and then also the aura from the other Pegasus, this one right here, does double damage as well. So I got 2 undead Pegasus now, and a swarm, and I've somehow been able to turn the tide of this game a little bit, but it's still not over. He's still got his Dark Knight there, and I don't really have many tools. I used 1 of my Mega Boulders, I believe, at this point. So I have 1 left, but he's at 190. What is that going to really do for me? Probably not much. So I decided to tower here, because I know he can't really do much, he's trapped. And I didn't have much to do, like I couldn't aura him, because I just used my aura. I again have 4 out of 4 slots, so I don't have another minion that I can bring out. I noticed that the swarm can fit through the bottom here. If I had more time I could bring a Pixie up too, and drain him, but I don't. I'm only able to get that swarm down. But yeah, somehow I'm able to squeeze him a little bit more, apply pressure. I think that when I went to the side, if he auras me to 1 health, the game would have looked a lot different. He probably could have pebbled me, and just if one of the pebbles hits when I'm detowered, then I die. But yeah, it's still a game. He offers up the draw, because at this point he's got no flight and can't really go anywhere. So there's not a lot he can do, and I've got a 95 Pixie that I can run around and drain him, drain spam. I've also got 2 Pegasus that I can use to trap, keep him from coming up. So I decide here to pull out the drain, He's now at 126, he's getting down there, lower. So my game plan here is to just continue to apply pressure with the Pixie. And also at this point I've got 2 glides left, so I know that if he ever teleports to the side, I can glide down there and drain him off, potentially sink myself and then gate back up to the top. So he is able to get back up, gain some top control again, and he towers. And I try to move with the Pegasus. I'm a bit too slow and I screwed up here to get to the top of the hut and run out of time. So I'm like at 10 seconds trying to move these Pegasus away, and I just queue a turn pretty much. That was kind of stupid. I probably should have just brought the Pixie over and drained him, but I screw around a bit too much with the Pegasus. It is what it is. I wanted to pebble down, to get an angle to pebble down, but that didn't work out. So I'll do what I should have done last turn, bring that Pixie over, and just start drain spamming. And I can actually finally get his Dark Knight killed. Finally. Took me long enough. I could have killed it like way long ago on like turn 10 when it was 49 health. Detowered and pebbled it, but I didn't for some reason. So finally his Dark Knight's dead, which is nice. He wants to get the bear up to apply some pressure to me, you know, maybe use his melee attack or, you know, something. The bear's jump is kind of funky, so he, you know, fucks it up a little bit. It is what it is. Yeah, it takes a little bit of maneuvering to get that exactly right, but he's able to do it. The bear's stuck, so he's just going to use the strike ability to free it. And at this point, I'm honestly just thinking, okay, just drain spam. I mean, there's no harm in that. I do have the swarm that I can tick. There's not really any way that he can deal with this 156 Pixie besides trapping it. Haven't seen him pull out Ice Shield, so if it's just in the open air, there's no way to trap that Pixie. I keep the bear from coming up, and I decide to just spam with the Pegasus. It's a luxury, I can spam with the Pegasus or the Pixie. Kinda cool. So his bear is kinda stuck. Maybe he wants to free it at some point again to exert some more pressure. He decides to just drain the man trap, get a little bit more health. He doesn't really have a lot of moves here. There's not an easy way that he can, you know, Vine Bridge to trap either one of the Pegasi, and so, you know, he's a bit stuck at this point. I've got 100 plus health Pegasi, and he's got his trapped bear and trapped Pegasus, and I've got the 146 health Pixie, so there's a lot on the board that he just can't deal with. So he has to stay in that tower and stall for as long as he can. At this point, it's worth noting that we're at turn 54. He does throw up the draw, which I didn't mention earlier. That was probably 5-10 turns ago. And again, same plan, just drain spam. I'm hoping at some point that he will gate to the side so that I can glide down there. But I guess the game plan would be to just trap him with the Pegasus and the Pixie. He does undead the Pegasus, but I can just trap it, it's not really a big deal. And it can't come up over here. So I can take him with the Swarm. And I could have detowered maybe and pebbled, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. Oh, I actually used my last Mega Boulder even better. I mentioned a while ago that I had one left, and I'm able to toss it. It does a little bit of a tricky toss. It has to kind of stick to the top of his head, so it is risky. If I didn't practice so much with Mega Boulder, I wouldn't have tried that. But I'm able to get a great toss, and now he's down to 24 health, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually have a great chance to win this. You know, get a 16 health comeback. But he does have Sanctuary, which is just really crappy, because I can't swarm him, I can't trap him with Pegasus, but I do notice that this little hole here is large enough for me to fit. Or so I thought, but I still thought, okay, I can just aim the pebbles from up top. Now he's got no tower, and I'm looking pretty good here. I don't think he has a second tower at this point. He's never used a second one, so we'll see what he does. He wants to get the bear up, trap me, or hit me with something. I thought, okay, if he doesn't, you know, move, then I win. So he gates the last second. He had like 3 seconds left there, pretty clutch gate. And he does trap me, which sucks. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, I've got 3 turns left, or 4 technically. Now I have 3 left. I just need to get out of the trap. I can actually keep his bear under wraps. And I do know that I have 2 glides there. Also, a small note, it's kind of cool. The reason I teleported onto the pixie so that he couldn't tree me, I could just walk out of the tree. So I do have glides left. Unfortunately, I screw it up. It's a very tricky glide actually, because most times when you glide down here, your character bounces against this edge and drops onto the land. But because of this tree in the way, I just get stuck. And I'm totally stuck. I can't jump anywhere, I can't do anything. So that's really unfortunate, because I could have won right there if I did that glide correctly. But I throw out the aura, and he has to mount his Pegasus now, I guess, unless he has a Sanctuary back. He can't really flash me off, because then I'll come back up to the top, because I have glide active. So he summons a swarm. I tower. You can now tower on the border. It's a recent update over the past couple months that was added. And he trees here, just again to prevent me from, or discourage me, maybe not prevent, but discourage me from coming down. And at this point I'm thinking, okay, I've got 1 glide left, I've got 1 chance. I've never really executed this glide before to dodge like both of these trees, but we'll see if I can do it. So I position the Pegasus about that far and barely curl around that tree to get the drain. One thing I want to notice too, we'll see what turn that was at the end. It was a turn 60 win. We're gonna come all the way back. I'll just kind of show that off to you guys because it was pretty sweet. Notice I dipped down to 16 health there for a bit. I have to have a comeback. And yeah, I was so pumped after that glide to come in for the win. That was so sweet. And yeah, you'll notice turn 59 here when I tower. And then he takes a turn, and then on turn 60, I mount the Pegasus and come around to kill him. And we'll just watch that glide again because it's pretty sweet. I can't really tell you guys that I've practiced that at all. It was just intuition. I was like, okay, I just need to go a little bit further. And I just kind of visualized the arc in my head. And I was like, oh, this is probably a close. And honestly, I probably got lucky. I don't know, I'm gonna be honest. But I did have 1 attempt before that I could judge on it. And yeah, there's the 60 of 60. pretty cool to get a last second win. So yeah, I'm just able to get lucky with the positioning and barely, maybe a few pixels of room that I had there before I go down to get the win. But yeah, fantastic game. Yeah, some blunders on both sides. I let him charge me twice. I didn't kill his Dark Knight early enough. When he was at 49 HP, I should have just detowered and pebbled it. When I'm on the side, he should just aura me to 1 health, and then he has a lot of a bigger chance to win the game. And he probably does win if he decides to aura me when I'm on the side at 16 health. But yeah, a great back and forth game. Awesome ending on turn 60 to pull off that pretty impressive glide. I was real proud of that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.